Once again, good afternoon and welcome to the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Tournament Seattle Regionals here at Climate Pledge Arena. Our standard reminders, please silence all cell phones. No flash photography and no video should be taken during the press conference. If you want access to the video, you can get that from the NCAA Media Hub once we are finished. We'll take questions from the media room first, and then we will go and check in with Zoom. If you are on Zoom, use the raise your hand function, and we will get to you. And a reminder to please state your name and affiliation prior to asking your question. Joining us from Ohio State is head coach Kevin McGuff. Kevin, if you'll start with an opening statement, then we'll open it to questions.
Just really excited about the opportunity to play a really talented, well-coached Virginia Tech team tomorrow. Have really great respect for Kenny and his program and all that they've accomplished through the years, but especially this year. They've played really, really well. They play great basketball. They're a very balanced team. You know, they can score around the basket. They spread you out with great shooters. So we know we're going to have our hands full. It's going to be a big challenge.
Up here, Kelly.
Thanks for the time, Coach. Thomas Costello, Land Grant, Holy Land. One thing Coach Brooks talked about was playing physical on offense. Virginia Tech, they'll get up the floor quickly and take a shot, especially if they have a foot or two. How do you kind of combat that? They start off really fast.
Yeah, no, we've got to be great in transition defense. They are very quick up the court, and so our transition defense will have to be exceptional. And I also think too, if we're pressing, we've got to be really effective with our pressure, and mindful though on the back end that they can throw it ahead and take quick shots that are good shots for them.
Bailey Johnson, Columbus Dispatch. Kevin, yesterday Tennessee was able to get a run together through their press that Virginia Tech didn't handle super well. Can you take anything from that? Yeah,
Virginia Tech, like I said, they got a great team. They got great guards. And so, we watched what they did yesterday. And, Tennessee had some effectiveness there late in the game and used their athleticism, I think, to speed them up. And they got some turnovers. So, we'll try to learn from that and see if we can apply it to tomorrow's game.
Up front.
Mark Berman, the Roanoke Times. What is it about this, your team that makes it a good marriage for this pressing style? I think Kenny said that when you played in Florida in 2018, you were not a pressing team back then.
Yeah, so we, just the way we're built right now, we're a little bit of a smaller team, but we've got, great speed and quickness, and, we're trying to use that to our advantage with this pressing style.
Tim.
Tim Booth from the AP. Kevin, Ohio State hasn't been to a Final Four in 30 years. Virginia Tech's never been there. Why is it important for women's basketball to have some new faces on the landscape, getting on these stages and having these opportunities?
Yeah, no, we've talked a lot about parity in recent years in our game, and I think there is a lot more parity than there used to be. But to really validate that statement, we need new teams in the Final Four. So I think this is obviously a great opportunity for both programs.
Jerry Brewer, Washington Post. Kevin, when you made it this far in 2010, you had a 6'5" and a 6'6" future pros.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're playing 5 out and pressing, and pretty much you've done everything in between in the last 13 years. Just why is adaptability so important to you? And is this current style of play one that you might sit with for a while and recruit to?
Yeah, really good question. I really like the way we're playing right now, and I think it's the way our sport is going to go. I think as players, especially post players, become more skilled and they can play away from the basket, I think the analytics would show you that we're getting better shots around the basket because we draw rim protectors away from the basket. And I think that's a big part of it. It's kind of why they did it, morphed into that in the NBA. And I think, our sport will quickly follow. But I do like the way we're playing.
Alexa Philpott with ESPN. Can you just share from your perspective, how did you first come to see Cody on the recruiting trail? What stood out to you about her, even from a young age, and how do you feel like she's developed the most in her freshman year? Yeah,
she's from about an hour from our campus, and so I saw her quite a bit from a very early age. And two things were evident from the get-go. Is one, that she had a lot of talent, just skill, or just talent overall, basketball talent. And the other thing, that she really had a high motor, that she played really hard. And the one thing that you don't ever know until you get them is how they're going to practice. And she has got great practice habits. She competes and plays hard every single day. And I think that's the biggest thing in terms of, why she's been able to make so much progress in 1 year is just her commitment to practicing the right way.
Hey, Ben Pickman from The Athletic in the back here. On the topic of conditioning, like what do you all do as a group during the season from a conditioning standpoint to make sure your players can, play the style you want to play? And I guess during the summer, what did workouts consist of, or did you spend more of an emphasis on physical conditioning, knowing how you guys wanted to play this year?
Yeah, we have that's a huge part of our program is our conditioning. We have an excellent strength coach who monitors that for me. One thing nowadays is that we used to never have is we have great technology that really helps. We used to kind of guess before, like I think we're in good enough shape, but now we have technology and data that we even from going back to last year. That I talk to the strength coach about this almost every single day, and about where we're at with our practice, and just to make sure that we continue to practice in a way and we get their heart rate to a certain area to make sure we can maintain our conditioning, which is so important with our style of play.
Hey, Coach, over here on Matthew Walter from The Next. I asked Kenny this, the fact that 6 of the 8 teams left in this tournament are ACC or Big Ten teams, and you guys seem to play each other every year, ACC Big Ten Challenge, which is obviously going away in a couple years. Just your thoughts on why these 2 leagues are so well prepared to get themselves this deep into March.
Having said, I haven't looked at it real closely, but I think both leagues tend to have teams that can really score the ball. I know in the Big Ten, that's one of the things. I was talking to, when we were at the Big Ten tournament, I was talking to Brenda Fries, and she's like, hey, I think we're going to have a lot of success in the tournament because if you look at the way our teams are built and the way we're scoring the ball on offense, I think that's going to give us a chance to make deep runs in the tournament. And I think she's right. And I think, Virginia Tech is a good example that they can really score the ball. And I think that's what separated them really from in their league this year is their ability to score the ball.
I'm going to go to the Zoom room. Dan Hope, go ahead.
Dan Oak from 11. Kevin, just obviously there was so much excitement about beating UConn yesterday. Kind of how have you all reset over the last 24 hours to, make sure you bring that same intensity tomorrow?
Yeah, we obviously had a great win yesterday, and as I told the team then is hey, we can be excited about that until the Tennessee-Virginia Tech game is over and we know who we're playing. And we're kind of switching gears at that point. And, we got up today and as a staff we met and obviously went through some scouting and strategy ideas. Then we showed film to the team to really get them in the right frame of mind to focus on Virginia Tech, and then we just had our practice. So I think we're in a good place that way, and our mindset is focused on Virginia Tech, which is the only thing that matters at this point.
David Cunningham, Tech Sideline. Kevin, what stands out to you about this Virginia Tech defense that has given so many people so many fits down the stretch here as of late?
Yeah, they're really disciplined. They're good on the ball. They're good, kind of in the gaps, trying to take away driving lanes. They've got good size and athleticism around the basket, so they can kind of protect the rim. And then, they really finish off possessions well by rebounding the ball.
Thomas Costello, Land Grant, Holy Land. Throughout the season, you've played bigs like Monica Sonano, and you're playing against Mackenzie Holmes a few times. What's different about Liz Kitley compared to those other bigs that you're playing throughout the season?
She's really versatile. She can score around the basket. She's got nice touch, but she can also step away 15, 16, 17 feet and make shots. She's good off the pick and roll, kind of pick and pop into the mid-range. So I just think, usually we're playing post players that are good on the perimeter or they're good around the basket, and she's kind of good at both, and it makes it a really difficult matchup.
You won yesterday, even though UConn shot better than you and out-rebounded you. Is that because, with the style you play, are you looking more at the end of the game at points off turnovers as opposed to what your field goal percentage was? Or?
Yeah, I think that can offset the rebounding in the field goal percentage for sure, and it's an important part of kind of who we are and how we're built.
Any other questions for Coach? All right, Kevin, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Thank you.
we were a little light on time for that, so it'll probably be about 10, 15 minutes before players come in. Yeah. Let me double check because they've. So yeah, so in about 5 minutes. 3:05 to 3:35 is when the locker room's gonna skid. So they have to double check. They changed the schedule a bit, so the one I have up here is not the one that's currently being used. Just letting you know where I am. right, a couple quick reminders. Please say your name and affiliation before asking your question. If you're in the Zoom room, please use the raise hand function, and we will get to you through the course of the press conference. Joining us are student athletes from Ohio State, Ricky Harris and Ebony Walker. And at this time, we will open the room for questions. Start with down here.
Thomas Costello, Land Grant, Holy Land. Different question for both of you, kind of the same idea though. Ricky, you've been with the program for a few years now. What has changed about the conditioning from when you got here to now being a really strong pressing team? And then Ebony, this is transferring to Ohio State from Syracuse. What have you kind of seen different from the conditioning programs across the teams you played for?
I would say our conditioning hasn't really changed. We just have players that go hard all the time, so that makes you more conditioned when you play hard nonstop.
I think Ohio State as a program does a great job of integrating basketball in everything that we do. When we condition, it's conditioned while playing basketball. We play basketball for an extended period of time. We're not really just outside running on the track or running on a treadmill. We're, playing basketball to get conditioned in basketball.
Matt Andrews, Ohio State Learfield. Ricky, I think it was the end of the first quarter. Did I notice you with the coaches gathered take Coach McGuff's seat on the floor? I know you want to be a coach, but what was the message you shared, and was it just instinctual for you to kind of get there and to help lead the team there?
Yeah, I do that a lot. I just told him, we got it. I think we might have took a lead or was down by 1 point at that point. And at that point, I knew, we got this, and the press is going to work, and I just told him to keep talking and communicating. So that was pretty much it, but, yeah, it was nice.
I also want to add, I think that attests to, the intelligence that we have on our team as far as our basketball IQ. We have people from McGuff all the way down that could give us little pointers here and there. And then just as far as Ricky goes, what she can see throughout a game, even though she may be playing or she's not playing, is definitely something that all of us make of high importance to hear what she has to say.
Bailey Johnson, Columbus Dispatch. I know you guys came here with the intent to win and believed you were going to beat UConn before you guys played yesterday. After that win, where would you say the team's confidence is at now heading into the Elite Eight?
I mean, I would say regular. We're always confident. We take every game by game. I mean, UConn's a great team, but at the end of the day, they're just a team just like we are. So it comes down to who can play the hardest and who can weather the storm. So, I mean, it's just all about playing hard.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. We go into every game basically the same. We focus on what we could do best and just go from there. As long as we play our game, we have the utmost confidence in ourselves and in each other. So I feel that has carried us far through this season.
David Cunningham, Tech Sideline. This is for either of you guys. What has helped you guys be so connected on the defensive end, night in, night out, even when sometimes stuff does not go your way right off the bat? What helps you guys kind of stick together and stay connected?
I would say our willingness to play for each other. I mean, at the end of the day, we want to see each other succeed, and we have the team that we're just down to give it all for each other. So when you have each player on the court that's willing to sacrifice everything, it's going to work. And if we lose, we know that we did everything we could. So we'll keep our heads up and move on.
Matthew Walter from the Next. Sort of similar question to that, but what about your guys' press makes it so different than a lot of other presses? Just the way you guys press, you do it so effectively and so well with so much athleticism. What's the difference? Is it an X's and O's thing, or is it just a personnel thing?
You can't scout it. We don't know. If you ask anybody on the team, they're just we just move and run. We play off each other, so if I see somebody else do something, I'm like, okay, I see her move, let me slide over, but mainly it's just scramble and we just run. So it's definitely has to do with conditioning because you have to run nonstop, but it's just nobody can really scout it because we don't even know what we're going to do next, so how can somebody else know?
I also want to say I think that plays to our confidence in each other as well. I have more confidence to play tougher defense just in case if I may get beat, I know my teammate has my back regardless. I think that plays a big role in our press as well. We could take those gambles because if I get beat, I know somebody else is there to help me and I'm going to help them. It's kind of just that defense. We always have each other's backs, offense, defense throughout the game.
Alexa Philippou, ESPN. Ricky, since you've been in the program for 3 years now, do you feel like the team has been? Coach talked a little bit about it, but have has the team been pressing more kind of progressively as you guys have, or you've been in the program? And do you like being able to do that? Is it kind of, I know it's, I'm sure, a lot of running and stuff, but is it fun to be able to kind of go out with that?
No, yeah. Over the years, we definitely have pressed more, and it's working better and better because we have the players that's, we have the players that's like wants to do it, and we love the press. When he takes the press off to try to throw the other team off, we're like, no, no, no. And he's like, no, it's a strategy. And we're just like, no, we want to press. So I would say definitely over the years it's gotten better, but it also depends on the players you have and the heart they have for it. We love the press. I mean, if we don't press, we don't win the game for the most part. So the press is like a key to us, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So, I mean, it might not work the first half, but it might work the second. So it just depends.
I'm going to go to the Zoom room now. Dan Hope, go ahead.
Dan Hope from 11 Warriors for Ricky. You mentioned being a leader of the team. Just maybe what do you say to the team after such an exciting win yesterday to make sure that you all are able to reset today for this next game?
I told him we're not here for one game. I said we trying to solidify the ticket to Dallas. So I said let's celebrate it right now, and once we change and get dressed, it's on to the next one. We got one more game to knock out.
David Cunningham, Tech sideline. When you guys watch film on Virginia Tech, what stands out to you about their offense and the kind of just the way they've been rolling on that end of the floor lately?
I mean, they're just a great team in general. So they have great guards. They just have a great team. So I mean, it's going to be a tough battle. They're good offensive, and they're very long. So it'll be down to just playing hard and going hard the whole time, and who can go hard the longest, I guess. I mean, it's going to be a battle no matter what. Anything can happen. And, I mean, at this point, it's win or go home, so everybody's going to give it their all. So we're just going to have to play hard.
Matt Andrews, Ohio State Learfield. Ricky, to you, and back to the question about your time here in the defense. You're 40 minutes from going to a Final Four, and we're talking about Ohio State's defense. Was it that way when you got here? It seemed to be more of an offensive-geared program, but now things have shifted a little bit. And why do you think that is? If you agree with that?
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say my first 2 years at Ohio State, definitely more offensive. And these last 2 years I've been here, defense is the key. We have great offensive players, and we can score with whoever, but if it's just going to be a scoring match, you don't know what's going to happen. When you put the defense aspect in it, it's like, wow, like that 25 turnovers, like to one of the best teams in college basketball, you know? So it's just like, defense is it. We have the players to do it. We're fast. And like she said, we rely on each other. We trust each other. If somebody gets beat, we know somebody's going to have our back. So it's all about trust.
I also want to piggyback and say that us as a collective, I feel like we understand the importance of both sides of basketball, especially for this year that I'm here. I could say that. You can't really have offense without defense or defense without offense. That kind of just plays into everything that we do. So we don't put too much focus on one thing without the other because you need the full game to kind of get the results that you want.
And anybody can hit a shot, but who's going to step up and take that charge? Who's going to run back and get that block, dive on the ball? So
go back to the Zoom room. Dan Hope, go ahead.
For Ebony, when you watch Elizabeth Kitley from Virginia Tech, just what kind of challenges does she present, and what do you feel like you all need to do to be able to slow her down?
Yeah, she's a great player. I take every player in their own respect. I never try to compare with anyone else. I definitely give them their own light and focus before every game, but also I take it personal. I want to do whatever I can for my team to do the best I can to defend her. But yeah, she's a great player. I'm excited to just be able to compete against her. Just being able to compete in the March Madness tournament against all these great players is already a blessing in its own way. But yeah, we still want to get the results that we want to get, and I'm excited to be able to compete.
Any other questions? Ricky, Ebony, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate
guys.
it. We'll see you tomorrow. Our next press conference is after the game. Enjoy.